The gym was a shadowed cave, lit only by flickering fluorescent bulbs that buzzed like dying insects. Sweat dripped from heavy bags, pooling on the concrete floor, and the rhythmic thud of gloves against leather filled the air. Marcus, the Reaper. Vance, a mountain of a man in his 30s, stood in the corner, wrapping his hands with tape, each loop pulled tight with purpose. His knuckles cracked under the pressure, and his eyes burned with a rage that seemed to radiate heat. A reporter, clutching a microphone like a lifeline, stood a few feet away, her voice cutting through the gym's din. "Marcus, you've said you'll do anything to beat NAOYA INCOUE, but at the press conference you swore to kill him. Why?" she asked, her tone probing but cautious. Marcus didn't look up, his fingers working the tape with mechanical precision. "Inoue's untouchable, they say. The monster, undefeated, but I've trained my whole life for this. He's not a god, he's a man, and men bleed." His voice was low, gravelly, each word heavy with intent. The reporter leaned closer, sensing a story that could ignite headlines. "So it's personal?" she pressed. Marcus's hands froze, and he fixed her with a stare that could crack stone. "He took something from me. My brother fought Inoue 2 years ago, never walked again. Inoue didn't just win, he destroyed him. I swore that night I'd end him in the ring." The scene shifted to a montage of sweat and sacrifice. Marcus sprinted up a jagged mountain trail at dawn, his breath visible in the frigid air, legs pumping like pistons. Across the world, NAOYA INCOUE, lean and lightning fast, shadow-boxed in a pristine dojo, his movements so precise they seemed choreographed. News headlines flashed across screens. Vance vows revenge. Inoue unfazed by death threat. Marcus obliterated a speed bag, his fists a blur, while Inoue sat cross-legged, meditating, his calm a stark contrast to Marcus's fury. The world was watching, and the stakes were climbing higher than the odds. The press conference was a powder keg. Cameras clicked like machine guns, and reporters jostled for position in a packed room. Marcus and Inoue sat at opposite ends of a long table, a promoter between them like a referee in a duel. Inoue in his 20s exuded a quiet confidence, his dark eyes steady, his posture relaxed. Marcus, on the other hand, was a coiled spring, his fists clenching beneath the table, his jaw tight. The promoter, a slick man in a suit, leaned into his microphone. "Gentlemen, this is the fight of the century. NAOYA, thoughts on Marcus's threats?" Inoue smiled faintly, his voice soft but firm. "Words don't win fights, skill does. I respect Marcus's passion, but the ring is my domain." The room hung on his words, but Marcus's patience snapped. He slammed his fist on the table, the sound like a gunshot. "Keep smiling, Inoue. Tomorrow I'm carving my name into your legacy." The crowd erupted, gasps and murmurs rippling through the room. Security edged closer, but Marcus's glare held them at bay. Inoue didn't flinch, his smile unwavering as if he'd already won. Fight night arrived, and the arena was a cauldron of noise. 20,000 fans roared, their cheers shaking the rafters. Lights flashed, and music pulsed like a heartbeat. Marcus entered first, his hooded robe trailing behind him, his face a mask of fury. The crowd fed off his intensity, chanting, "Reaper! Reaper!" Inoue followed, his steps light, his expression serene, like a monk entering a temple. His fans waved banners, their faith in the monster unshakable. The announcer's voice boomed over the chaos. "Ladies and gentlemen, for the undisputed bantamweight title, Marcus the Reaper Vance versus NAOYA the Monster Inoue." The bell rang, and the ring became a battlefield. Round 1 was a clash of styles. Marcus charged like a bull, throwing heavy hooks that could shatter concrete. Inoue, elusive as a shadow, slipped each punch with ease, countering with jabs that snapped Marcus's head back. The crowd gasped as Inoue landed a vicious liver shot, but Marcus absorbed it, his eyes blazing with defiance. He roared, swinging, a wild uppercut that grazed Inoue's chin. Round 3 saw Marcus bloodied but relentless, his punches fueled by rage. Inoue's speed was unreal, his strikes surgical, But Marcus's will was iron. He landed a glancing blow, and for the first time Inoue stumbled, his balance faltering. "For my brother!" Marcus growled, his voice raw, the words a war cry. The crowd was on its feet, the arena electric. By round 10, both fighters were battered. Marcus's left eye was swollen shut, blood streaking his face. Inoue's calm had cracked.